Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Falcon Gaming. We are playing World of Warships. The weekly PvE mission has rotated, and today I bring you two replays. The one is in my Tier 7 New Orleans cruiser. Now, for the history buffs, the New Orleans class cruisers were a class of 7 heavy cruisers built for the United States in the 1930s, and they were originally called the Astoria class cruiser. The class was renamed after Astoria was sunk and the surviving ships in the class underwent substantial reconstruction. Now, Narai, as a PvE scenario, has had a fairly interesting time over the last year or so that it's been around. It used to be, from memory, a tier 6 and only changed a while ago to being a tier 7. A lot of people recommend using something like a Dallas, etc. Now, obviously, you've followed some of the other PvE plays that I've had, and I use my Dallas and a Petuni extensively there. But this is tier 7, so I use my New Orleans. In game, New Orleans isn't a bad ship, but it's not a great ship either. It's got 9 205mm, 203mm guns, essentially the same that's on the Pensacola, or the Pepsi-Cola as we all like to call it. And the Pepsi-Cola has one huge big problem, and the same goes for the New Orleans, and then a little bit later in the second replay in Indianapolis, and that is that it's got a monstrously big citadel. So on this New Orleans, I didn't use any credit flags or anything. I actually just fitted my ranked tier 10 flag, minus 10% for the repair cost, and that's been it. The camo I actually left on. I've still got a tier 1 consumables. The camo is a 250% XP for commander and free XP, I think, camo. Couldn't be bothered too much. Firing a lot of AP because just like your ship, the PvE ships, they tend to have fairly rough citadels, and they tend to turn themselves sideways like this one here. Unfortunately, 5 overpens, and he gets exploded before I can get rid of him. I launched my spotter plane since I don't have hydro on this ship, and hydroacoustics is fairly important because you want to see those pointy little fish that the destroyers use, or radar would also be nice, so that you can find them in the smoke, like this asshole that's sitting there at the moment. So he sets me on fire. Not happy, and somebody spots him. Alright. Let's see if we can take care of him. Now, I've been running this thing quite a bit. Ranked gaming has me fairly broke. I think I'm at 3 million coins. Some of the games run at over 100,000 loss, especially if you run a few premium consumables on your Izumos, etc. And you don't do a lot of damage. And remember, the ranked matches, there's only 6 opponents, so you can't exactly, I don't want to say harvest XP, but you can't use a hell of a lot of, you don't have a hell of a lot of HP pool on the enemy team to farm damage, and damage, we all know, equals credits. Right, so this is a Atlanta model coming at me. I recognize it by the HE and the pointy guns. One citadel, I spot another ship. Oh, there's a cruiser over there, and I realize I'm a bit too front. One of our ships is peeling off in the one line to go and get the transports. 2 of the other ships are peeling off C towards C9 and 10. There's a CV that you've got to kill off, and then the rest of us shooting at whatever's coming up here. Now, if you Google Operation Narai, one of the first pictures that hits is a chap that in his Atlanta, which is a premium tier 7 cruiser, he did 467,000 damage and made like 1.5 million credits. So as you can see, Citadel, the enemy cruiser there, and I managed to... Oh, okay. Alright, torpedo beats. I'm going to hit one, I take one on the nose, it causes flooding, and I can repair it. So, here we go. Thank you for coming. 2 kills quickly. Lots of fishies in the water. Luckily I spot them. Now, earlier in one of my replays, I want to say replay, in one of the plays that I sort of recorded, I was taking my French tier 7 cruiser, and I went up at this guy. I think it's a Missouri chassis, Missouri model. Lots of HP, you can farm him. Unfortunately, the AP does enough damage, but it's not enough. Now, I've got a bow tank a little bit. You see my health, I've got a third of my health left. And that's one of the really, really nice things about this operation. You can go back and you can get repaired. It's fantastic. So I see one of our destroyers, and our guys now, they're heading to him. There's a wall of skill going at him. And our guys now should be a fairly good secondaries, being a German. And before I can get a shot, he's taken care of by actually an Atlanta. So, as I was saying, I used this New Orleans because I wanted to do a comparison between a 5-star match with no credit modifiers and a normal tech tree ship versus a premium ship and a ton of credit modifiers. Now you have to remember it's also about damage done. The game later on in my Indianapolis, I do a little bit more damage, but you'll notice the substantial difference in credits if you put things on. And look at that. Look at that. Thank you, Citadel. Now, obviously, smoke's up. I can't see him. I got no shots, and I need to wait for the transport ship. I want that transport ship because he's got a repair or mechanical repair, and I can get some HP back. And once you enter this harbor area, all hell breaks loose. Harbor Bay area. It almost reminds me of Saldanha Bay out in the west coast in Cape Town. If you're not from South Africa and you're watching this movie, please Google Saldanha Bay and you'll see. Looks a hell of a lot like Narai, except at the moment it's oil and ore, actually not oil tankers, it's ore tankers. Ore carriers, not ore tankers, apologies. It's all carriers transporting iron ore from the Sishen-Saldanha railway line, and that's another interesting to Google. It's the Sishen-Saldanha railway line and the ore carriers. The trains that transport massive long trains. I watched one once when I was quite small, and we're talking 4 locomotives at the front, 4 locomotives at the rear, and a hell of a lot of ore carriers. So anyway, I'm trying to land shots on the carrier there. Luckily we have a cruiser that's intercepted him, and it shouldn't survive it. The arc is just not there, it's not a Dallas. What about 52,000 damage? Really pathetic actually for Narai. Got a bit of my health back, but around the corner there's a destroyer, and one of our BBs is pushing in hard, and I know for a fact they're going to target him. And there he goes, requesting support. So, enemy cruiser in the distance, and he goes broadside. Okay, well if you're going to go broadside, I'm going to go and shoot AP at your sides. See if I can get some citadels. Citadels are always good. See. Shoot at that cruiser again, and for some reason he's turning again. It's like he wants me to citadel him. Yeah, unfortunately, only 1 penetration. Not a hell of a lot of damage on that one. But now, this is probably, I want to say, part of the easiest, yet also the difficult part about this PvE operation is you've got to get all the transports safely. You've got to keep them safe while they offload troops, and the enemies just spawn and spawn and spawn. Now, I think what previously happened is people Just let the opposing NPCs spawn, and used to farm them for a ton of damage until they couldn't farm them no more. And I think Wargaming did fix it. But like I said, Google for that Atlanta screenshot. 1.4 something million credits. He did 467,000 damage, I believe. That's a lot of damage. Yeah, 436,000 damage and made 1.469 million credits. Alright, I'm at 87,000 damage, but I'm taking a hell of a beating here, and I realize I'm not going to make it. Might be able to get one or two more shots, but I've got 4 NPCs shooting at me, and my match is about to end. Just as my team ends that cruiser over there, and before I can shoot here, unfortunately... Well, no, I get a salvo off. I thought I died earlier than that. But there's a... 5 overpins, 94,000 damage, 94,900, call it 95,000 damage. 3 PvE ships sunk, 4 citadels, 4 spots. We're done at Gneisenau as well. And I want to see who I can actually follow here, just to make sure that the team doesn't become douchebags and lose the match. This is obviously the tier 7 light cruiser, the Helena. I actually haven't bought it yet. I stick because I'm now tier 9, tier 10. I don't keep a lot of my lower ranked ships. I sell them mostly to finance the other ones and also to move the captains along, because training captains do take quite a while. Now, as I said earlier, Atlanta, brilliant premium ship. It's got all these quick firing guns. They've got a monstrous arc, so you can sit behind an island and just throw HE. We've lost another cruiser, and fuck me, excuse my French, but fuck me, a Queen Elizabeth just destroyed him. Jeez, that was rough. I remember watching this and I was just like, wow, that was harsh. That was harsh. I've had one of these operational scenarios where they destroyed me like that. So we're following Scott 527 Defender in his Mahan. I tried to do this in a destroyer once, and I chose one of the British destroyers, and it didn't work out. I, for the life of me, cannot play destroyers. I tried to move up the Russian destroyer line, and I can't play destroyers. It's just one of those ship types, one of those items I'm not good at. I'm really, unfortunately, just not good at. So Mohan obviously sends a wall of skill over to the NPCs. He's in the repair circle, and as you can see at the bottom, 9,300, 9,500 HP, and then they shoot him and it's down to 6,000-7,000. Moves up to 7.5, 8,000 HP again. It hits him, and there's an enemy battleship very, very close. And part of the thing is, don't let the enemy battleships get too close. He takes a nasty hit there from one of the cruisers, but we're almost done. The main objective is to either offload 2,000 troops, and unfortunately this freaking Queen Elizabeth takes him out as well. I switch back to the Helena. There's literally one battleship and one cruiser on our side left. Now looking at this Helena, and I'm thinking maybe I should actually just save up the coins and buy it. I should have a captain lying around that is at least a 10-pointer that I can move around. Or I can move my Indianapolis captain, and I'll discuss him in the next replay. Maybe use my Indianapolis captain, because it's a premium ship. You can transfer the captain, and a lead transport ship takes a knock, but 2,000 troops offloaded before we can fail this, and that should be 5 stars. Battleship and a cruiser remains, but let's have a look at the outcome. Now remember, Literally the -10 repair cost modifier is the only flag I have on it. XP modifier for free XP in the commander. So there we go, Narai, 5 stars without modifiers. And I've got 165,000 credits, 94,000 damage, and yeah, 124,000 profit. And that is it. Not the highest on the scores. Anyway, looks like I completed something. And now, for the next replay, I'm in my Indianapolis. Now, that New Orleans and that Indianapolis, they look very, very similar. But actually, that New Orleans was a New Orleans class, and the Indianapolis was a Portland class. And the Portland class was succeeded by the New Orleans class. Now, the Indianapolis, I did not buy this premium ship. I earned it. I think it was a week or a 2-week long event where you had to do something like 100 citadels and dance on the moon and shoot down 17 destroyers. It was a weird quest. It was in commemoration of the USS Indianapolis. Now, the thing with the Indianapolis, and I will discuss the camo and the flags I have on her in a bit, but the thing about the USS Indianapolis is Indianapolis completed a top secret high-speed trip to deliver the parts for Little Boy. And Little Boy was the first nuclear weapon ever used in combat. And they went to the island of Tinian and subsequently departed to the Philippines for training. Now, 30 July 1945, she was torpedoed by the Imperial Japanese Navy submarine I-58 and sank in 12 minutes. 1,195 crewmen on board, 300 went down with the ship, and the remaining 890 faced exposure, dehydration, saltwater poisoning, and shark attacks while stranded in the open ocean with a few lifeboats and no water or food. The Navy only learned of the sinking of the Indianapolis 4 days later, when the survivors were spotted by a patrol aircraft. And Indianapolis, unfortunately, has the honor, I don't want to call it an honor because it is terrible, but it resulted in the greatest single loss of life at sea from a single ship in the history of the US Navy. So, interesting enough, while I'm dodging the submerged fishes from the underage boat, as Euro calls it, 19 August 2017, a search team financed by Paul Allen, and he was one of the co-founders of Microsoft, located the wreckage of the sunken cruiser in the Philippine Sea, lying at a depth of 5,500 meters. And in 20 December 2018, the crew of the Indianapolis was collectively awarded a Congressional Gold Medal. So, real tragedy. Only 2 ships were built in this Portland class before it was superseded by the New Orleans class, as we discussed earlier, and a really, really tragic story around it. I do think there was a movie made as well, and if I'm not mistaken, it wouldn't surprise me if it was Tom Hanks. He always ends up somewhere on the ocean stranded. So, interesting start to the match. I've got 1 PvE kill, 2 citadels, 35,000 damage, and for some reason I am being heavily focused by the enemy PvE ships, the bots. As you can see, 3 of them targeting me. Out of the thing, I've got 2 fires and 23 seconds left on my repair kit. For some reason I was running a premium repair kit on the ship. Repair kit, excuse my French. So, and I was a bit stupid. Fire off my radar, I get spotted, and I put a citadel on that guy. And now I'm being bumped by the friendly bots, and these guys are just unrelenting. I mean, there are friendly players in this operation around me and in front of me, on my sides, and these guys are just going at me. So on this ship, I've got a camo that is plus 50%. Don't ask me why I shot the sunken ship. Probably revenge on the crew. Now I'm being bumped by some of my teammates. Sorry guys, I was just literally trying to get a repair going there. Anyway, I've got I think it's one of the white anniversary camos, and it gives you 50% reduction in repair cost, 50% in credits. Then I've got an additional credit flag going, and I've got, well, now I've got multiple credit flags, etc. going, and I've got my minus 10% flag for obviously reaching rank 10, tier 10 or rank 10 in the season 13 that they're ranked. And as you can see, a cruiser and a battleship in front of me, and that Atlanta class was still focusing me until they smoked up, and I'm on fire again. And I was really getting frustrated in this match, because it was like the PvE ships would just not stop focusing me. I'm not using any one of my other captains. I've actually discovered that I had a Alexander Ovchenkin, a American version of him as well. So you'll remember the Russian one I'm using in my DM Donsky tier 9, and I decided to put the American version into this ship, and it worked out really well because he's got a turret traverse. I don't want to call it bonus, but extra turret traverse, and it really helps this. Excuse me. It really helps the ship turn its turrets very quickly. So as you can see there, the two enemy cruisers, they were focusing me again. I'm at 65,000 damage, and a bit of a warning, I did a bit more damage in this match than I did in my New Orleans. But the credit difference at the end, premium ship, camo, and the flags is so immense that I don't think it was just the damage that was done. So I'm sideways towards this Missouri model. Only for a minute I thought all those shells were coming at me, and luckily now he was aiming at somebody else, even though I've been detected. So I sent some shells to him, and the transports are turning away so I don't get my heals. And I've got to turn a little bit left, and that means I can use only the front two guns. Now, if you're going to use the Indianapolis or the New Orleans in a PvP scenario, like the normal matches, don't go broadside. Like I said earlier, they have monstrously big citadels. They get citadel from the moon. That is how bad it is. I actually thought our one transport ship was going to get it there, and then he's going to do a ramp, but yeah. So he's not turning his guns my way, so I decide, alright, let's get some damage going here, and everybody is firing at him. And I'm back up to 20,000 HP hit points. Thank you for that. Right, our one teammate has killed all the transports single-handedly. That gives him the Shark Among Shrimps award, or label, or whatever you want to call it. And we spot the enemy cruiser that's escorting the enemy carrier. And I think two of our cruisers are peeling off on the left-hand side, going down the E line, up to D around the island, going down the 10 line to try and take care of the enemy cruiser that's coming there, and obviously the enemy aircraft carrier. The aircraft carrier has to be sunk. One of the things that you can see in the left hand corner, destroy aircraft carrier king. So yeah, we have to destroy that aircraft carrier. I'm still staying in the circle. I'm at 28,000 HP. I'm asking the Scharnhorst is going for the CV. And looks like they are. Looks like they're going that way. So I wanted to make sure. Yeah, and he says sure. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Now I'm trying to get as much HP back as possible before we head into the next stage of this PvE match. Wow, our Helena pops the enemy destroyer one shot. That's a explosion. That was well done. I just don't have the arcs to get over that. Right, time to speed up. Get around this corner before they destroy the transport ship, because that would be bad. We need to disembark just over 2,000 troops, and if they're shooting the transport, they can't do that, and that would be bad. And then we get 4 stars or 3 stars, and then I would have to play another match in this ship just to try and get 5 stars. What's also really cool about the Great 8 captain that I have in this ship is he's got blue arcs when you fire. Yeah, it's kind of a thing I enjoy. Right, next stage of the PvE match has been initiated. Destroy the incoming forces, and the PvE ships are starting to spawn. And like I said, now one has to farm, or try and farm as much damage as possible. I have seen teams lose this match in this area. They get overexcited, or they don't repair often enough, and the PvE ships takes them out, and that's a bit of a problem, because then you fail. Well, it is Falcon Gaming after all, but we don't want to fail this. We want a 5-star. We want a 5-star in a cruiser with a modifier for credits to show the difference between using modifiers and a premium ship, and not using modifiers and using a normal ship. So I switched to 8E, HE. Throw some at the underage ship there, and I only got 2 enemy ships aiming at me. And I did notice a lot of it was line of sight based as well. The moment I went behind an island and out of their line of sight, they stopped targeting me. I had a fire and I repaired that. So can't get there. I start a fire, and I think that's a King George model. So this isn't really an historic battle that they're trying to simulate. There's an enemy destroyer coming around the corner. There's an enemy destroyer that was coming around the corner, and I get 2 kills. So I burnt down the Breton model, and I shot this Farragut model, and both died at the same time. Awesome. Now, I fired up my last hydroacoustic surge. It lasts for a good minute and a half, because the Farragut might have sent torpedoes, and I want to be aware of what is coming my way. An underage ship shoots torpedoes at me, I don't want them hitting me. I'll switch back to AP, 4 citadels. I take that poor NPC's health off, nearly complete. I get another destroyed, so I'm up to, I think, 4 PvE kills in this match. 128,000 damage, so a bit higher than the previous damage that I did. Get another citadel, 136,000. The transports have all docked, they're disembarking, so not a lot of time now to try and get as much damage on the NPCs as possible. Citadel, my 5th NPC kill, but now they've decided that I'm a pain in their butts and I need to be dealt with. And I make the mistake of aiming at the front cruiser while my reticle is focused on the rear cruiser, but I still get 3 penetrations, and now they're unhappy at me. I switch targets, make sure the reticle is there, and I'm on fire again. Fuck off. And I bounce. Yeah. Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. See if I can get some shells over the rock here. No, 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 no. There was no luck on that. Shit. One of our Liberty transports has been popped by the shores. That is unfortunate. So we have to land 1,400 troops out of 2,000. I'm hoping we can still do it. Really hoping we can still score a 5-star out of this one. And it looks like there is a enemy cruiser coming down this channel, and it's an Atlanta shape or Atlanta model. It was an Atlanta shape. It was an Atlanta model. 4 citadels. 7th NPC kill. I'm on fire again. 169,000 damage. Yeah, that's a little bit more than I did in the other ship. But we have literally one NPC battleship left. I'm heading to the repair area where the rest of my team's been huddling. I do not think we're actually going to be able to kill this enemy or this PvE battleship before these run out. Troop disembarkment. We've offloaded 1,400 troops. 1,412 troops. I make a right-hand turn. Okay, so destroy all the enemy ships or secure the safe landing of 2,000 troops. So if we can get this battleship, we can still 5-star it. We've done the secondary, which is 1,400 troops, and we have 1,412 troops. Talk about cutting it close. Aim nice and high, otherwise I'm going to bounce off his torpedo belt. 3 penetrations, 5 overpins. And I am at 175,000 damage versus 95,000 in the New Orleans that I did. And the operation is completed. Let's see, do we have 5 stars? Let's hold thumbs. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Alright, come on. Come on. There we go. Yes! 5 stars. Look at that in the background. 879,800 credits. Over nearly 7,000 XP. Modifiers 50%, 20%, 25%. After deductions, 835,000. Commander XP of 14,000 and 1,400 free XP. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the difference between modifiers using a premium ship and using a stock tier ship with no modifiers when you're running these events. Please note, I will be running Narai a lot in this week, not playing a lot of ranked and not playing a lot of Apex, especially after the scandal there. But thank you for joining me for this long replays and the narration, and we will speak soon. Cheers.